Today is October the 31st, 2008, and we're here in Denver, Colorado with Mr. Gerald Quiat, who's a World War II veteran, a European theater guy, and he's going to tell us about his experiences in World War II and the European campaign. Name?
Gerald M. Quiat, Q-U-I-A-T.
And when were you born?
January 9th, 1924.
Okay. Now you're going to tell us about your experiences in the service, and were you raised in Denver?
Yes, in 1941. I think it's 41. I went to the University of California at Berkeley.
Okay.
And when the war started, I can't remember the date I enlisted. It was sometime in 1942. I was a student at the University of California.
Okay.
And they permitted me to finish some of my education. And I went into the infantry, listed as a private. And
you volunteered?
Yes. And I finished, I can't remember just exactly the date when I was called to active duty.
Okay.
And I've been in ROTC, and I went to the, initially, to Camp Roberts, California, which was an infantry camp. And I was an acting squad leader at that time, and I was getting my basic infantry training. I managed to, on the rifle range, tie for highest shot and best shot in the battalion.
Wow.
So because of this leadership skill, or whatever it was, I was sent to OCS when I finished my basic training. And that was at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay.
And I came out a second lieutenant in the infantry and joined the 42nd Division, which is being formed at Camp Gruber in Oklahoma at that time. And I had the 4th Platoon, which is a weapons platoon, in Company E, which is a rifle company, 242nd Infantry. And I went over with that organization. And we had only minor combat. We went in on the invasion of Marseille.
When was that about?
Oh, I think it's in the fall of 1944.
44,
Yes.
Okay.
And we went into the invasion of Marseille and had some minor combat experience in the southern France there in Marseille. And then we were moved up to, by train to Gamsheim, which is we were told that the Germans had been crossing the Rhine at that point, and we were sent in to stop them. And this was the first real engagement was there. There were a lot of things that happened. There was the day of the battle, we were told there's a company of Germans that are in this town, and we're sending in a reinforced battalion. You'll be back by noon. And this was in the middle of winter in 1944. And this area was part of the Battle of the Bulge. So I thought we'd be back in the afternoon, so I dressed pretty much like I am now.
No coat.
No coat. And that proved to be a real mistake. And in fact, we never did get back. And for a good part of the battle, I was out in my shirt sleeves, trying to lead troops and perform. And we went into action there, the Germans had made a breakthrough. And they had the pontoon bridge. We were told there was a company of Germans on. Turned out to be a major. It was a military bridge that they had installed, but they could get tanks and everything else over, and they did. And we watched, or I watched a Sherman tank get destroyed by a German tank, and we had nothing to fight tanks with there. Not that size tank, but we did have I had a weapons platoon. We had light machine guns and light mortars. And we went into action there. And first thing we were able to do was knock out a German machine gun nest. We did that with a 60 millimeter mortar. And then we were generally fighting, and I was trying to get between the mortars and my machine guns, and I ended up with the machine guns. And we were outgunned, seriously outgunned, and I was amazed at the ability of the average American who had never been in combat before to fight a war. And we saw one guy try to climb up on the German tank and put a hand grenade down the barrel of the gun. He was killed before he ever did it, but no one even knows his name. But the courage shown there was just unbelievable to me, and it was inspiring. And we've been fighting all day, and toward that night, and this is memory going back to 1944 when we were there. But I'd been with the mortar group, and I can't remember the fellow's name who was my sergeant, but he was tremendous. And we put a mortar shell right down on a German machine gun nest. And later I joined my own machine gunners, and I was with two of the machine gunners, and we were really attacked by a superior force, overwhelming, and we got on the bank of a canal, and I got rid of my carbine, which I figured was a pop gun, and got another one I picked up. And I couldn't I was cold as hell, but excuse the language, but I couldn't bring myself to pick up the overcoat of an American that had been killed. I just couldn't do it. I'd rather stay cold. And I was cold. We took up a position on the bank of a canal, and I had, at that time, one machine gun with me, two gunners, and I was there, and we were on guns, and I felt we were holding up the whole German army. We were, I figured sooner or later they're going to bring in some mortars or something, and I didn't see it, but they told me the Germans were running a tank down the side of this canal, machine gunning everyone in there. And I was on the bank of the canal, and I was wondering how I was going to get killed, whether it be a German coming in which case I would have fired at first, and I was firing. I was on a gun, and we were firing that machine gun, and all of a sudden the firing stopped. And I was told that the Air Force colonel had come out as a visitor to watch the infantry in action. And I marveled how lousy his timing was to come in there just to the point where we were surrounded, we were overwhelmed, we were about to be killed. But he surrendered a bunch of us. And we left our guns, got up, and were surrendered. And I didn't have any further combat action. I was in shirt sleeves at this time, and got pneumonia, nearly died from it. I was in a Gulag, which was a temporary camp, and the British soldiers that had made the Arnhem invasion, a lot of them were there, and a British officer who had been in on that invasion saw me and put me in a heated building. Up to this time, I'd been sleeping either in the open or in a barn, and I had pneumonia at that time, and I would have died from it, except he put me in a heated building, and I was able to get parcels, or part of a parcel. Now I could sit down and eat a Red Cross parcel for lunch, but at that time it lasted 4 people a week or something like that. But it was enough to keep me alive, and I started getting better, and later we were able to break out of the prison camp. That's my story. I can go into detail if you want. Well, I know there were some things.
Wait.
Okay. Okay.
So you ended up with pneumonia, captured, is that correct?
And in a Gulag at Ludwigsburg.
In a gulag, okay.
And before that, I didn't mention, I was, when we were coming on to taking a train up to the battle zone, we stayed in Strasbourg. And that night, I heard that another lieutenant with my same last name was there asking about me.
So go ahead. You said you were in Strasbourg, and
We stayed in Strasbourg on the way up.
Yeah.
And we spent, it was New Year's 1944 in Strasbourg. And I heard some lieutenant was looking for a Lieutenant Quiat. It turned out to be my brother.
your brother. Oh wow.
And he had been with the 45th Division in Italy, had been wounded, transferred to the 36th or Texas Division, which at that particular time was stationed right next to us. So we spent New Year's 1944, 45 in the company of each other. We spent that night together. And I went my way and he went his. And well, I don't know what to tell you. I was on a gun when we were captured, and I was firing the thing. And 2 machine gunners were with me. And this colonel of the Air Force surrendered the group of us up there. I was taken prisoner. I was still in my shirt sleeves. We were marched. I can't remember how much of the time, but I got pneumonia and I had it bad. And we got to the temporary Gulag. And there was a British doctor there. And as I said, the group from Arnhem, for some reason, a group of them had been transferred. And they were shot to hell. They were just tremendous people, tremendous soldiers, but they didn't, the group we saw had really been massacred almost. But he took care of me, put me in a place where I could get some heat. And then when there were Red Cross parcels, as I said, I could eat one for lunch now, the whole thing. But at that time, it lasted 4 people for about 2 weeks, and I got enough food to keep me alive, and I started getting better. And then I was anxious to figure out a way to get out of that camp. And we got out. There were 4 of us. And,
So how did you get out? Can you tell that?
We were standing there, and the British, I think, would raid Stuttgart at night, and the Americans during the day. And the Germans at the gate would run for cover. And they left the gate open or unlocked. And that's all we needed. I packed my stuff, which was about as much as I've got on now, and we were on our way. We started going south toward Switzerland, and we met some prisoners coming back. We traveled at night. We hid during the day in a haystack or something, and at night we would travel. And we didn't have any food or anything, but whatever we could get to eat, we ate. And we met some prisoners that had gone to Switzerland and come back. And they said, you don't know how to go there. The Swiss guards are turning escaped prisoners back over to the Germans, and they're shooting them.
Oh, wow.
So with that, we headed west. And honestly, I can't remember at this point how many days we traveled on that, but we got right in the middle of an action between the German patrol and the French patrol. And French patrol won. One of the group I was with spoke fluent French, which was a good thing. And at that point, I got the rifle and equipment belonging to Paul Schornberg, who was a dead German that had just been killed. And this was sometime in April, as I recall. My dates now are difficult to remember. But anyway, we took the town. I don't even remember the name of the town. And the Neckar River toward American lines. And we come around the corner, and there's a German tank that had just been knocked out.
So you joined up with the French, is that correct?
Free French.
The Free French. Okay. And you then took the next town?
The town, yeah.
And what was the name of the town? Do you remember that? You don't remember that?
No, it's a small town.
Wow, that's something. And you took, so then you got the Burgermeister's car. And you headed for the United States lines, huh?
Yeah, I had a German gun, and I had a German beret, and I had my own pants, British jacket, German hobnailed shoes. And, so we're around the corner, and we're stopped. The Americans had just knocked out a tank, and they were all over. I'd said, I'm an American officer. And he'd look at me. He made some remark about his grandmother or something. And I said, no, really, I got an ID card. So they looked at it, and we're back in American lines. I'm simplifying a lot of stuff that happened, so then I went with them. We were flown to Le Havre. We flew to Paris first. They burned all my clothing. It was really worth burning. And I got a uniform, and we stopped in Paris. One of the ex-prisoners had eaten, 3 dozen donuts or something and killed it. I only ate about 2.5 dozen or something. But then, I don't know what else to say. I was on a hospital ship coming back at VE Day. I wrote my commanding officer, told him I'd like to be in with the same outfit in the invasion of Japan. And then I started having health problems, and I never got back. I was a patient at Fitzsimmons Army Hospital for, maybe half a year or something.
You were out at Fitz?
Yeah.
Is that right?
No,
Did they think you had TB or something like that, or did they just think
I
you
had
were...
some kind of an intestinal infection that I got in that
Is
prison
that right?
camp, but it took them years to clear it up.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you survived it all.
Yeah. Well, my brother was the one that really saw action. He's gone now. He passed away.
Did your brother survive the war?
Yeah.
Did he? Is he here in Denver now?
Oh, he's dead. He died,
dead. Oh, I see.
died a couple of years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's our story at,
You got a Bronze Star.
yeah, it's
Wow.
right on the wall there.
Okay, we'll get a picture of that and stuff. Yeah.
And that combat infantry badge. And
Yeah.
I feel I made,
Well, you were a survivor because you were a second lieutenant in the infantry.
yeah.
That was quite
And
a bit.
I feel I made a direct contribution to the war effort.
Yes, I think you did too.
Firing there. I sure didn't spend as much time as a lot of them did. Or my dad, my brother, he had something like a 6 months consecutive days on Anzio beachhead.
Yeah.
But
Your brother was in the Italian campaign.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But you landed in Europe.
And Marseille.
Yeah, at Marseille. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so, what was your highest rank? Second lieutenant?
First lieutenant.
First lieutenant. Okay.
Yes.
Good for you. And tell us about, you got the Bronze Star,
Yes.
and you had the infantry,
Combat infantry
combat infantry
badge.
badge. Yeah.
Yeah.
What other awards did you get?
Oh, I got the whole bunch of riflemen, expert machine gunner, whatever they had there. I knew how to handle a gun.
Got all that.
Yeah, I knew how to shoot a gun, and they had I think a proficiency test, and I shot highest in the battalion.
That's
And,
what you said. You were
yeah.
tops in your battalion.
Yeah, and I think that's what sent me to OCS.
Good for you.
And
you served in the European theater alone. I mean, and
Yep.
that's
Yes,
right.
sir.
Okay.
yeah,
So, and we know he was an infantryman. So,
yeah,
so anyway, so not to shift gears, but
Yeah.
when you were with the French, was there any problem? They just accepted you, and you guys just went ahead and
I'm glad one of our
acted as a
group,
French army, huh?
yeah, one of our group could speak French. I don't know what we would have done if they hadn't, because you had half German uniform,
Yeah, sure.
and but we fought with them, and I'll never forget the commander of the French group. He had one arm, and in the other arm he had a submachine gun. Away he went.
That's right, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I would hate to be German on the other side of this, because they didn't take any prisoners.
No prisoners.
No.
No.
So that's about it.
So you got home and was hospitalized at Fitz for about 6 months, and
Yeah.
then did you get out of the army then, or did they keep you in, or what happened?
Well, I was retired for physical disability.
Okay.
I was bothered with that for years, and I think I've gotten over it now slowly, but I still have trouble.
Do you really?
Yeah, yeah,
GI trouble, huh?
yeah.
Literally GI trouble.
Yeah, it is GI trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it isn't severe, and I think I'm healthy, and I'm still alive.
You look good.
Thank you.
You're thinking good.
Yeah,
We like that. Now you have some family.
yeah.
You got your wife?
6 kids.
Huh?
Wife and 6 kids.
6 children.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So did you get married after the war?
Yeah.
How did that work?
Well, I was married twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the wall, I have. I practiced law for many years. I was appointed the chairman of the Civil Rights Commission for Colorado. That's a plaque there, and I was also one time the chairman of the Civil Rights, not Civil Rights, of the Trial Lawyers Association, Colorado. I was one time a president of a large hospital here, Rose Medical Center.
Rose Medical, were you?
Yeah.
Good for you.
And also I was chairman at one time of AMC Cancer Research Center. And what else? I think that's about it. I got all these things on the wall. And
And where'd you graduate from law school?
Denver University.
Denver? Uh-huh, yeah.
They probably shouldn't have taken me in, but the gal felt sorry for me. And she let me go to law school. And I told her, I said, if I complete this, will you give me an AP degree? And they did. AP and this degree is both dated the same. I don't want to get her in trouble, but it's been 40 or some years since then. No more than that, my God.
Yeah, well, that's great. And what's that picture on the wall there? We're going to take a picture of some of this stuff.
That was a unit when we took basic training at Camp Roberts, California.
On Camp Roberts, okay.
Yeah, I was an acting squad leader.
Ruth will take a picture of some of those things, and you can, as she takes the picture, why you narrate it a little bit, will you? So you got to do that. So, Okay, I guess that's. as a field commander, you had a machine gun and riflemen under your command. Is that correct?
Weapons platoon, yeah.
Yeah.
We had light machine guns and light 60 millimeter mortars.
Yeah.
And we dropped one of those things right down on the Germans and on a machine gun nest. I didn't do it personally, but the
men under you did.
sergeant, yeah, he was tremendous.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, before we went over, my platoon was designated as a division commander's weapons platoon. That doesn't mean a damn thing when you get in combat, but these guys knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Now, when you guys started into combat, had you seen combat?
No.
None of your people, or none of you had any combat?
I wouldn't say none. I don't know. Some of the ones in there might have been there before.
But most of them were.
Most of them.
Most of you guys had never seen any combat.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty tough going. Yeah. And how many people were under your command, roughly?
About 36 or somewhere around there.
Something like that, yeah. Okay. And what kind of casualties did you sustain?
Oh God, our outfit was wiped out. We were either killed or captured or
the whole
died.
bunch?
Yeah, and if a wounded man was there, there's nobody to pick him up. He froze to death. It was really cold.
Yeah. So, and you were in the dead of winter.
Yeah.
Because that was supposedly the worst winter Europe had had for years and years.
Well, yes, it was. I think this was January 6th when we had this battle that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the date, but that's my recollection.
Well, that's all.
And that was in the Battle of Bulge.
And that was classified as part of the Battle of the Bulge, is that correct?
Yeah.
Which was that was the #1 big battle in the European war, I guess.
I don't know about that, but our lines extended all the way clear down to where we were and near Strasbourg. I don't know how far up, Belgium, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was a miserable time. It was cold. I think
You were on the southern end of the line, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, so I see you're a fisherman too. We won't get into that, but I'll have to show him my fishing pictures. Okay, let's see if we can get some of his awards and stuff, Ruth.
This is a picture of my mother and father at World War I. Shows my dad in a World War I uniform. And the next one up is the platoon I was in at Camp Roberts in basic training. I imagine most of these guys never made it. Infantry, they went over just at the time of the Battle of the Bulge. This is the Bronze Star Combat Infantry Badge and Prisoner of War Medal. And I've been real active in the Anti-Defamation League. And
Hang on, what do you want? Oh, the Bronze Star?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're, Mr. Quiat.
it's, it's an Anti-Defamation League. It's
Anti-defamation.
one of the awards.
That's all those, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and this is on the board of directors.
This one right here is the
And there-
Anti-Defamation League.
I was in Who's Who in Colorado, the United States, and the world even for years. I was chairman of Rose Medical Center, as I said, and it's one of these here.
That's
And, Rose Medical, before it was sold, and chairman of the Civil Rights Commission for Colorado.
where is that,
That's,
Mr. Quiat?
Down there on the, I was
We
chairman.
can always cut it out. I mean, if you don't have it, we don't.
I was chairman of the Colorado Trial Lawyers Association at one time. Chairman of AMC, the Civil Rights Commission,
Which one's that?
right here.
This is chairman of the Civil Rights Commission? Wow, that's something.
And now, it is now, I was against the merger, but it was right and I was wrong.
Struggle, I mean,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The place, yeah, there's a picture of me catching one up at Fairplay. And there's,
yeah, that's,
so if you,
look at those big fish.
well, that didn't come from Fairplay. Although they're,
Building.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We were in the Sims building, which is a block
Huh?
away. We were in the Sims building.
Sims, was it? It's the
Yeah.
Sims building? Yeah.
Woolworths was on the first floor, and we were. Are you gonna leave?
I was gonna wait till you're done.
Oh, good.
I have to go and pick up the dog. But
Well, that's when I was president of Rose Medical Center and president of a law firm, and had me walking in between.
Yeah.
I don't think what I told you was very exciting, but it was to me at the time.
Okay, what about your grandchildren down here on the ledge?
Yeah, there's a ton of them.
And how many do you have?
Five grandchildren.